Good afternoon everybody and welcome to Moonee Valley Library's 6 Plus Club. My name's Paul and I've the pleasure of introducing a challenge, a STEM challenge. Okay, before we start, I'm going to do an acknowledgement of country. So we are together on the land of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung and we acknowledge the ancestors who have taken care of country, land, waterways and sky. We are one with this land. Okay, today's STEM challenge, structural engineering, mighty big words. But essentially, we are going to build tall towers, the tallest possible towers that you can. So, some very simple materials that we need. First and foremost, everyone's favourite, marshmallows. Don't eat them until you're finished. Spaghetti, should have some of that in the cupboard, and very easy to get hold of. We need a ruler, because we're going to be measuring how tall our structures are. If you really make a humongously tall one, a measuring tape. Wow, that would be impressive. A pair of scissors, handled with care, of course. And some alternatives, if you don't have those, you can use some tubes, lollies, maybe some Play-Doh, or even some chopped up apple. And I'll show you how we can use those. Okay, the first part of today's exercise. We need 4 marshmallows for building a 2-dimensional shape, a square. 4 pieces of spaghetti for our square, and then we're going to also build a triangle, just 2-dimensional, with 3 pieces of spaghetti and of course 3 marshmallows. Okay, firstly we're going to make a square. Make sure that the base of your marshmallow is on the table or the surface you're using. Stick the piece of spaghetti in, but not all the way through. So we're going to connect up another piece of spaghetti, and you can put your finger on the end just to stop it poking through. A second piece of spaghetti, again, use a finger to stop it poking through. Another marshmallow, use my thumb this time. One more, a third piece of spaghetti, our final marshmallow, and to complete the square, spaghetti. Okay, so a square. I'm going to do the same with a triangle. So obviously, exactly the same. Let's push that through. Marshmallow. Another piece of spaghetti. Oops. And to join up our triangle. So there we go. A triangle and a square. Okay, so now we have our square and, as you could see, a triangle. Well, oh no, disaster! Let me fix that up quickly with another spare piece of spaghetti. Luckily there's plenty in the bag. I'll just pick that up. So we do have to be careful, and that's the great thing about science and engineering. It's testing, we make mistakes, and then we try again. Okay, so you can see my square. Now, if I imagine this is part of a tower, if I was to, the wind was blowing really strongly, and I was to blow on the building, can you see what's happening? We've got a parallelogram, another shape, as opposed, if I show you with our triangle, and the wind blows on that, the structure remains rigid. So bear that in mind when we're constructing our towers later. Okay, stage 1, square, triangle. Now we're going to go and create 3-dimensional shapes. So a cube and a pyramid. Again, subject to my spaghetti, I'm going to stick a strand into each corner. Get our 3 and our 4th one. We're going to put a marshmallow very gently onto the top. Again, put your finger on the top and just press down until you can just feel it point. What I might do, and you might need a brother, sister, or an adult to give you a hand, because this looks like it's going to, collapse. It's gravity taking its toll, wanting to bend. So again, very precarious, guys. Let's do that. And again, put your finger. Okay. Oh, there we go. No, this is very tricky. I'm going to recommend a couple of shortcuts and make it easier, because without assistance, it is rather challenging. So I'm trying to get nearly there, if I can manage to keep it from... Whoa! The wind's blowing strongly here in the library, as you can tell. Wow. Okay, finger in there. Come on, you can do this, cube. Hang in there. Nearly done, please. Okay. And finally, wow. Last strand. Okay. As you can see, look at that. Horizontal. And a cube. But as you can see, with our two-dimensional shape, the wind blowing, a bit of gravity, it's not exactly very stable, is it? I'm going to put it aside and we're going to quickly build a pyramid, and we'll see if that remains standing while I make my pyramid. Don't fancy my chances. Here we go. So, much easier. We just need 3. Uh-oh. It's coming towards me. Beware. Do I have to eat that one? No. Here we go. Oh, snapped another piece of spaghetti. Very fragile, but as I mentioned earlier, let's try and straighten that up. And see if we can get another piece of spaghetti. Here we go. Whoa! I think you're getting the hang of why we might be better using triangular shapes to build our towers. Oops, what am I doing there? Sorry. Okay. A very stable pyramid. I'm just going to show you as well something that I made a little earlier, which is the other alternative, and that is a 4-sided pyramid. So we've used a square base, as you can see, and then 4 strands leading up to Marshmallow on the top. Well, consider that maybe for the very top of your tower, as opposed to, our cube. Unless I hold it up, it's gonna, collapse. Okay, so we saw that the cube with the full-size pieces of spaghetti was not very stable at all. So a little tip. What we want to do, that's where our ruler comes in, is to get a few strands, probably 5 or 6 at a time, measure the average. The smallest one is about 23 centimetres. What we want to do is cut them in half. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get the length, knowing it's 23 centimetres, I'm going to cut. The little bits of spaghetti are going to fly everywhere. So cut them out. So as you can see, we've got half a dozen very neat, even-sized pieces. So half of 23, bit of maths. Ooh, did I hear? Yep, 11 and a half. So I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to get my ruler. Oops, broken a couple, that's all right. And we want to cut one of these strands at 11 and a half centimetres. So halfway there. So I've now got 2 strands. I can then use one of them to hold up and measure, as you can see. Press them up so they're level, and we're going to just cut another few. So there we go. Be careful, they'll fly everywhere. So I have a number of, and you can work through, you'll probably need, because you're going to build massive towers, quite a few pieces of spaghetti cut in half. So now, here are some I prepared earlier, and some marshmallows. What you need to do, and a little mini challenge, is to build some cubes using half pieces of spaghetti. So very straightforward. Again, use your finger just to feel make sure that the biggest part of the marshmallows resting flat on the table or the plate that you're using or the tray. We're just quickly going to create and see how much easier these little half pieces are to use. Another tip that you might want to consider is that, and I know you won't like it, but when mum or dad or adult buys the marshmallows, if they open the packet and leave it open for a couple of days, somewhere where you can't find them, you'll find that the marshmallows get a little bit harder and easier to use. So I've just made a square. I'm going to make another two-dimensional like we did at the beginning, square, and you'll find I've got, just pressing your finger against the strand, and then we're going to put the this cube together. So here we go. So we've got two squares. Now we want to join them up. So the easiest way is to carefully press down, and you can feel a piece of spaghetti. So these are going to be our little tower parts. Here we go, one more. Now, we need to be very careful. So we want to press very carefully with your thumb. I can feel the end of the spaghetti holding the other corner. Here we go. Whoops. 3 sides. And finally, 4. So, a cube. It's a little bit wobbly, but much better than our full strands of spaghetti. So what I want you all to do is to make 2 cubes just like this, and then I'm going to lay down the mini challenge. Okay, so well done. We've got 2 cubes. With the smaller, much easier to make. As you can see though, and I'm sure yours are probably the same, a little bit wobbly. So the mini challenge is to see if you can balance a thin, small book, the star of the week, that's you guys, not me, I'm going to just do it on 1. You can try it with the 2 cube tower if you can construct that, put that on top and make it balance. Let's see how we go. It's got to stay up for 30 seconds and no, it's not going to work. So, bearing in mind what we were looking at, which shape is the strongest? Triangle, I hear you yelling at the screen. Correct. Okay, so a couple of tips. We need to make these cubes stronger. Think of the Eiffel Tower in Paris. How do you think we can do that? We can make triangles to reinforce. So what I would recommend is that if you hold each of your beams and just push, so we can just see the tops of the spaghetti. We're going to and we're going to stick it diagonally in one, and I'm going to reach over and stick. So you can see you've got a brace, it's called. We're going to do the same, going diagonally the other way. So what are we doing? We're breaking our square shape into 4 triangles. And already, I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to flip that round. And so very carefully, if we put that through, stick that in, and the same, the cross brace on the other side, and push those down. And already, I'm going to try my 1 tower, star of the week. Let's see how we go. 30 seconds. By Jove, that's going to work. So the challenge is to do the same on all 4 sides. Then, as you can see, we've got the strands sticking out on the spaghetti. We're going to, having put the cross beams in, you can carefully mount the second of our cubes. Very gently pushing down. As you can see, it's still a little bit wobbly at the top. So again, I would recommend that you put in your cross braces on each of the squares and then see if you can balance. It's not going to work because I haven't put them all in. Okay, good luck. See how you go. Okay, how did you get on with that? A 2-cube tower with the reinforced braces. Hopefully that worked well. The other thing that you can do is also to reinforce it is to stick some piece of spaghetti down so you're doubling up on your base layer, because it's important that your base of your tower, the ground floor, is really strong. So when engineers build a tower, they need to make sure that it'll be strong and stable, like our first cubes. And to test their ideas, they often create small-scale models, and that's what we've been doing. So my challenge to you this week is to build the tallest marshmallow spaghetti tower that you can. We'd love you. Ta-da! Bit underwhelming really, isn't it? So I'm hoping you'll need the measuring tape and not the ruler. 28.5 centimetres? Work to do, Paul. I'll keep at it. That's your challenge, to beat mine. I want you to be using the measuring tape. Build as tall as yourself, maybe. So we would love you to take photos of your creations, no faces please, and post them on our Instagram site, Moonee Valley Library's Instagram, using the hashtag Moonee Valley STEM. I think you can outdo this little creator. Thanks so much for joining us. Thursdays, 4 o'clock, 6 Plus Club. Hopefully see you soon. Bye.